Hi, I wanted to talk about skill regression in this video, what it is, and my personal experiences with it because I feel like it's such a common thing in autistics and you don't always notice when it's happening. But first, I want to talk about autistic burnout because it's usually that skill regression is second and it's tied to having autistic burnout. Although there are cases that um there is like skill regression like really early on with like higher support needs, but I'm not talking about that in today's video. As a basic, very simplified definition of autistic burnout, here it is. Like other types of overwhelm, autistic burnout occurs when life challenges exceed a person's resource. Perhaps a person is undergoing stressful life transition, or they may have been pushing themselves too hard for too long. Regardless, the coping mechanisms they had been using are no longer enough. Certain skills and abilities shut down temporarily as the brain recovers. The brain may take a while to remember these skills as the person adapts to their new situation. I describe those shutdowns and struggles to remember how to do certain abilities and skills as skill regression, which I will read a definition of now. Autistic regression refers to a loss of previously acquired skills or a backtracking of developmental milestones. In young children, it may represent autism onset. In older children and adults, it may be a sign of autistic burnout. Regression in autism is exactly what the name implies. You are autistic, you were able to do a set of things, and now you find out you can't do those things anymore. Regression may become evident across multiple areas, including language, social skills, emotional regulation, motor function, or self-directed behavior. And I feel like that is a generally good definition because it is vague, because regression can look different in every autistic, because everyone has different abilities. They might have different limits, and they can really go down. I know you guys might be sick of reading, but I promise there's only two more things, which is like the possible signs of skill regression. Signs of regression may include loss of previously used words or phrases, decreased overall communication, new challenges in forming sentences, grammar mistakes, reverting to infantile sounds, not understanding communication from others, social withdrawal, reduced eye contact, not acknowledging social cues, lack of interest in peer engagement, not wanting to share or take turns. And although this is a good list, it is more targeted towards children, but I did find another one that is more targeted towards older adolescents and adults. Older autistic people are able to communicate their experiences with burnout in a way toddlers can't. Adults have reported symptoms such as increased sensitivity to sensory stimuli, such as fluorescent lights or scratchy clothing. The person may need to stim more often to compensate. Emotional and physical exhaustion. This can keep people from engaging in self-care tasks such as meal preparation. Difficulty making decisions, switching between tasks, and other executive functioning skills. Speech issues. These can range from forgetting words to being unable to speak at all. Reduced social skills. As an individual's cognitive resources are stretched thin, they may display more stereotypical autistic body language or speech patterns. General memory issues. I can say so many of these ring true to me now that I know that it's actually autistic burnout and skill regression. But when you don't know, it can be really alarming because there's so many changes happening, and you can kind of like notice and feel and know that it's not right and that you weren't like this before. So sometimes that can cause a lot of anxiety, or you can internalize it and be like, oh my god, what is going on? Is something wrong with me? Other times you'll try to push through and overcompensate for your skill regression, and that can lead to actually making it worse if you ignore it and you push on like everything was in the past, because all you're gonna do is, now that your capacity is lower, you're actually going to be stressing yourself out more, and that can cause you to go into burnout for even longer. And personally, I think I'm a little guilty for that because I am a little perfectionist in school, but I do understand people who still push on, because in an ideal world, you'll be able to kind of lessen your load and kind of relax a bit. Realistically, that's not always how it works because people have work. Sometimes you can't slow down on school for your safety or for your future, or you have responsibilities that you just can't afford to put down at the moment. And sometimes you might not even have somebody there to support you or kind of help you with these tasks that you need to do while you're burnt out. And I think those moments are personally the hardest, just because you don't have anybody else and you're kind of all alone in your support system, especially if you feel like you need a caregiver and you feel like you can't do this all alone. But I did want to talk about my personal experience. First, I want to do speech. For context, I have had a speech impediment ever since I was a kid. I couldn't do my R's. I would stumble on my words a lot. And until I was 12, I had like 7 years of speech therapy, and it really did help. But now that I'm in high school and taking college classes, I am a little burnt out. A little is an understatement, but I am burnt out, and I am skill regressing, and I do stumble on my words a lot more. I might talk in broken sentences at times. I honestly think it's a miracle that my teachers can understand me at times, because sometimes I'll just be like, what? Chemistry, this, so you do that? So shorter sentences, easier word choice, and sometimes I do slur on my letter sound. Sometimes, like, I always struggled with like sh and my R's and my J's when I was a kid, so like that's coming in a little bit. Like, I might pronounce cars like car. Brain fog. I feel like nobody talks about brain fog, like the general fuzziness in your memory and like struggling to understand new things, or just like taking more time to process the things that are being said to you or stuff like that. I think this one was the most alarming to me, just because like I could realize that, like, oh my god, like my brain is like slowing down a little bit. I don't know how to explain it, but I was just like, what the heck is going on? Because usually, like, I've always been like, got it, like, oh, connect these dots, da da da. But now I'm just like, I need like a minute. I'm like, huh, what? There are times I struggle to recall information and I forget like how to do things or how to spell a certain word, and I'm like, that doesn't look right, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't do that right. I feel like this also impacts my executive functioning, because I find it harder to actually get up and do tasks and plan it out in my head. And to be honest, being ADHD, that has never been a good skill for me, but at least I can tell it's gotten a lot worse. Like, I have to like sit down for like 5 minutes, or like, I don't know, more than 5 minutes, and be like, okay, you're gonna do this thing, it'll be fine, you're gonna do it, that, like, mentally prepare myself. And lower energy levels too. I have like no spoons when I wake up. Like, everything is just so exhausting. Brushing your teeth is exhausting. Like, for a neurotypical person, right, it might take them like 1 spoon to go brush their teeth. It takes me so many. Showering, putting my shoes on in the morning. Shoes. Can we talk about shoes? I hate shoes. I hate tying the laces. I hate how they feel on your feet. So I have to mentally prepare myself to put my clothes on too. And like the article I mentioned, I think it said that struggles with that can really put your self-care down, and I really relate to that, just because meal prepping and actually going to go cook food and take care of yourself is so exhausting that I end up not doing it. Like, I end up like pushing my meals off until like I'm literally starving and my stomach is growling, and then I'm like, okay, I have to get up now, just because it takes so much energy. I'm so tired. And I think cooking is also a skill I kind of regressed on. Like, I used to be really good at cooking. Well, I'm still good at cooking, but I used to cook like multiple times a week for my family, and now like they'll be lucky if I do it like, I don't know, like once every 2 weeks or something. I guess I just want to say I am worse at multiple step patience things, because I feel like cooking is that. I feel like hygiene and self-care is that. I know like the base reaction to this is like, oh my god, you're so disgusting, you're so lazy, you're not even trying enough. But that's not true, okay? You have a different life than them and you have struggles that they don't have. I think we should celebrate the small things. Like if you manage to brush your teeth like 5 times a week or like once a day or something, good job. That's an accomplishment right there, because I'm telling you, when I can do my skincare like once a week, I'm really like, oh my god, I feel like I can take on the world. This is going great. Okay, now I'm a little bit off topic, but I want to talk about lower sensory like tolerances, because I definitely have those. When I was a kid, I still didn't like people touching me, but I was more like tolerable to it and I could be okay with it more. But now that I'm older, I really can't do people touching me. Like I literally tell my friends, I'm like, hey, you have to ask me before you touch me. And some friends I don't even let touch me because like it just feels so weird. And it's not anything personal to them, like I tell them that, but I describe it as touch has like a weird aftertaste for me, like how some stuff has a weird aftertaste you can taste in your mouth. Yeah, touch is like that for me. Like if somebody touches me, I can still feel it afterwards and it's like sensitive and like weird. I don't know, like it's overly like reactive, that area, and I don't like it. I feel like my taste sensitivity has definitely gone up because not only do I struggle to kind of taste new foods because of the texture and stuff, I also struggle because my safe foods are really limited right now. Like lately I've only been eating my safe foods, and that leads me to not being as healthy as I want. Like I know I'm lacking nutrients and stuff, but like when I try other foods, I'm just like, I don't really want to eat this. So yeah, I am very specific. I am very picky. Can't say much about sound because I I I do have sound sensitivity. That's not me saying I don't have that, but it's not usually to the extent of like most people. For me, it's not loud sounds. I'm okay with loud sounds. For me, it's the tiny ones, like people tapping their pin, or like making like a subtle repetitive noise like chewing or humming. It makes me so mad, and I'm literally in my mind just like, please stop, please stop, please stop. I can't think. Like it just stops my brain from thinking. Like my thoughts are paused when people do it, and that's the only thing I can focus on, and it makes me so irrationally angry. And I did just say I wasn't sensitive to loud noises, but I meant that in the past. I feel like now I'm kind of a little more sensitive. So I guess that's part of the skill regression too. Oh, another thing on touch, I cannot stand people like having their hand on like my seat, or like kicking my seat, or like any type of vibration I can feel. I hate it. Like I can feel it in my bones and I just don't like it. I don't think it was a problem before, but now it is. Visuals, I can say that there has been no change because I've never been like visually sensitive. I guess I am hyposensitive in the visual aspect, but I don't feel like that has changed at all. Oh, I also have a lower capacity to mask. I've never been good at masking, but like I was better at masking when I was a kid, and now that I'm a teenager, because I'm 16, I am a lot worse at masking. I like really cannot control my echolalia that well. My scripting, like I have like little noises I make when stuff happens. I'm saying this not to embarrass myself, but to make other people feel better and like seen, because I know people are like, oh my god, you're so weird, you make animal sounds, like you make whining sounds, and I'm like, yeah, I do. You know, it's part of the autism. Like I meow, I bark, I screech sometimes. I'm like, and stuff. A lot of the times I do repeat other people's words. Like if my friend said, I went to the park yesterday, I'm like, park. And usually I can kind of suppress it, but it's harder to suppress now. So I think that's part of the skill regression. Like, I'm not good at camouflaging at all. I know like masking and camouflaging are kind of interchangeable, but to me, I see camouflaging as in like blending in more. I don't blend in at all. Like, I feel like my form of masking is just like being quiet, which doesn't last for long because I get bored and then I say stuff. And yeah, I do want to talk about emotional skills because I do feel like I have gone down on that. Like, I find it much harder to self-regulate, and although I haven't had a meltdown in like months, which is probably not a good thing, I still don't feel like I'm as emotionally there that I'd like to be. I feel my emotions a lot intense, and there's a lot more things that can set me off than usual. I feel more sensitive because of the burnout. I might be more inclined to not exactly yell at people, but because I don't yell at people, I'm more inclined to, I guess, like have an irritated tone and struggle to regulate my tone. And on the topic of tone, I do want to talk about like how it's impacted me socially. I really Okay, well, let's just begin with I am an extroverted autistic with social anxiety. And, you know, I think I have a good capacity for tolerating people, right? Like, I'm good for socializing with people. But I feel like that has gone down a lot. Because now I get, like, exhausted by talking to people. And I often get, like, fed up. And I'm like, oh, I don't really feel like talking anymore. Like, I just wish I could sit down in the middle of the floor and like be involved in the conversation but not talk. I guess with my social skills going down, I have felt like less human. Like, I feel more alien-y because I'm just like, you know, I'm fundamentally human, but I don't feel like I fit in with these humans. Another thing I forgot to talk about when I brought up executive functioning was like how I really struggle to transition between tasks now. Like, I need a lot of time to kind of calm down and like get ready for me to like have a shower and then go do the dishes or something. Because I mean, showers themselves are just hard because I feel like there's a lot of like many like baby transitions going on. Like, you go in there, you clean out the tub, you take your clothes in there, you get undressed, you go in, there's constant water on you, and then you do soap, you do your hair, if you do your hair and stuff. So I guess I see tasks now with a lot of like, not with as like just one big thing, but like as like a big long list of tasks to complete it. Now that I have, I think, shared my experience with skill regression, I'm gonna talk about things that I think could help. Like, for me, I try to lessen the load as much as I can, and I know this is not possible to everyone because there are just some things that you just have to do. But for me, like, I'm just a teenager in school, so instead of like pushing myself to have all A's and do great on every assignment, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna do my best, and if I'm not happy with it, who cares? Like, I tried. I try to give myself like neurodivergent, specifically like autistic or ADHD focused affirmations, because I feel like the normal ones they can kind of be counterintuitive in my opinion. Personally, it just really helps me to know that like I'm not alone in this struggle, and also that like it's not 100% my fault. Like, I'm trying. No matter what other people say, I'm giving it my best and I'm doing good for the life I have. I try to make things a little more enjoyable. Like, if I have to do a task, I put music on and I might give myself breaks. As for my sensory stuff, I do try to wear like more comfortable clothes, or if I'm going out, I have music or like headphones. I think like my biggest one is just to be patient with yourself. Like, don't give yourself unrealistic expectations, like not expectations that everyone else wants you to have, but what like you think that you can do with your spoons, with your brain, with your body needs. To be nice to yourself when maybe you didn't complete all the things that you wanted to, or maybe you had a meltdown, maybe you had a sensory overload. To kind of just treat yourself with kindness and be like, it's okay that this happened. I understand this happened. I'm not bad for this happening. This is normal and I'm trying. That every day doesn't have to be productive, and every day doesn't have to be you giving it your all, because sometimes giving it your all is not what you can do realistically. Because sometimes there's days where you genuinely don't have the energy. There's days where you stay in bed and you don't do that much for yourself, and that's okay. Whether it's you or the loved one that's neurodivergent, it's understandable, because there's usually things that accompany it, like chronic illness, and that can make it even harder to get up and do things. I guess I just want to say, try not to beat yourself up no matter what everyone else thinks. Also, no matter what you think, because sometimes there's that voice in your head that's like, you're not trying enough, you didn't do good today. Don't listen to it. And with that said, I think that's all that I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I helped somebody and made somebody feel a little more seen.